The founders forgot that we had medical liberty.
We seem to be losing by taking the side of the middle. And we seem to constantly be losing.
I think Trump has made some kind of arrangements with Russia.
This person has made the allegations that they were a man.
If there's content that's borderline, that's content that we basically will not.
There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset.
Let's talk about science.
I respect you, and I have a great deal of appreciation to you, JF, because in a time when everybody was attacking me, when Sargon doxed me and smeared me, you were the only one who gave me a platform, and you were very kind in helping me put the truth out there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to JFG Tonight. When will the JFG emails with Epstein be released? Yeah, there's been a couple of emails. I remember when I see his release, I see the email that he was using. It was geevacation@gmail.com. And that was the email I was speaking to when I was speaking to him. End of the line, Joel. I chose to do a YouTube exclusive tonight. I'm not on Rumble. It's just that I want to test a new bitrate setting. Now we are at 1080p. We are in a new platform format, new bitrate, higher bitrate, because there's been delay problems from the multi-streaming, and I want to test tonight if it's the multi-streaming. So are you guys receiving good quality sound, good quality video? I think you should have better quality tonight. I think we shouldn't have big hang-ups because I was passing through a middleman for the multi-streaming Streamlabs as a service where you send your stream to them and they restream to Rumble and YouTube. But I think that was the problem. I think that was what was delaying all the platforms at the same time. So tonight I'm trying exclusive YouTube. Maybe I'll go back to multi-streaming on Rumble, but I'll multi-stream from my internet connection. And amazing news, yes, woke is dead. Woke is so dead that I'm now monetized on YouTube. So I might study the possibility of being 100% on YouTube. Depends on the free speech, depends on if you guys are willing to follow me, because a lot of you have had the habit of going to Rumble, and that's fine because there are other important creators there. But should I multi-stream or should I go all YouTube? I don't like putting all of my eggs in the same basket, but it seems that YouTube has changed its philosophy. Look, I'm seeing a $20 super chat. Deadbeat sends $20. Thank you so much. He says monetized. Bro, you have no idea the feeling of warmth that your super chat is inducing in me, because I made a living off super chats. I made a career of super chats. I was one of the first person exclusively paid in super chats. That was my main income. And then YouTube ruined it all. They ruined it by demonetizing people, by punishing me for what other people were saying. You know, there was a time where I had monetization and Mama JF did a stream about her own subjects, and they demonetized me for what she said. Unbelievable. It was unacceptable, and clearly there was a target on our backs. Clearly someone had bought out YouTube and Susan Wojcicki. I hope that we can move beyond this, because I'm willing to respect the rules, but don't constantly adjust the rules to try to catch me, because that is truly traumatizing for a free speaker. It's like I started my career thinking freely and making innovation in media. And every innovation that I would do, they would come after me. They would add a new rule. Oh, JF now said this. Well, we're going to add a new rule for this special circumstance. GR says, interview interesting people. No politics, no big online personalities. Maybe we can go back to interviews at some point, but let me tell you, it's a whole other thing. Interviews are harder to get these days because everyone has their platform. Everyone wants to just speak into the void. Back in my days, we could get great interviews because there were quality people who didn't know how to stream. And they were interested in getting exposure through our big shows. It's very hard to come back to this economy because now everyone is a streamer. Everyone has the capacity to do their own live stream. Hell yes, says, you got my song, $5. Thank you so much. This is what's amazing with YouTube. This is what I was making a living on. $5, $20, super chats. Everything was working so well. Why did they destroy this? Why did they destroy this? And you guys let me know how the experience is. I've kind of enabled ads. I don't know, will they put ads on the live? Is that annoying to you if you get an ad on the live? I'm not so much interested about ads. I was mostly interested in the monetization for the super chats. That is always what I was targeting in life. But unfortunately, at some point, they started removing super chats out of concerns for rules and ads. And I was like, why don't you leave us the super chats? If we're too controversial for the ads, leave us the super chats. Cat's Dead says, BTC 99K, how low would it go? I don't know. Personally, I'm still huddling. I'm not recommending that you guys huddle. You guys do whatever you want. But personally, I'm still huddling because I'm not selling. I'm not selling at 100K. I'm not selling. So I need better than this. I'm kind of the contrary of Michael Burry. Michael Burry, the Big Short guy, is he knows exactly what's going on with the economy, and I agree with him. But Michael Burry is so autistic. He thinks the system will crash at all times. It will crash out of its own contradictions. But that's not how it works. The system is self-maintaining. So it's not enough to see there's a failure in this market or this market and eventually it has to crash. The timing is extremely important. And you have to understand the human phenomena that the stock market is and approach it as such. The market is always... If you analyze things through their real sustainability and value, you are going to get wrecked by the market. And this is what happened to Michael Burry, who had to close his fund at a loss. So his investors are going to get back just a fraction of their money. I don't know exactly how much it will be. Charles Gariépy sends $5. Thank you so much. He says, thanks for all you do. I'm having the time of my life these days. Well, first, let's get something out of the way. I want to do a last update on the attack on my family by my ex. So about 3 weeks ago, my ex teamed up with the Alberta Housewives and started calling the Alberta government to try to get me in trouble with Child Protective Services and tried to push an investigation on me for being the murderer of Mama JF. Suddenly, after our child was born, suddenly she developed the conviction that I had killed Mama JF. I want to announce, after this has been going on for a month, that her attempt at wrecking my life is completely a complete failure. The Alberta government completely rejected her delusions as unworthy psychosis of a crazy woman. And this is the first time in my life. It's the first time in my life that an ex tries to mess with me, but a government is there to protect my rights. I have not received any visit of the Child Protective Service. I have not received any updates from investigators. I have not been arrested. I have not been brought in for questioning. So after a month, it is safe to assume that her attempts at messing with my family for a quest of vengeance and at trying to publicly soil my name and invade the privacy of my children, that she has failed. And if there is a hell, she's going to it. If there is such a thing as hell, she's certainly going to it for what she attempted to do here. But I'm so grateful for the fact that I'm now in a province, the last province of Canada, that will protect the rights of a father against a delusional, fucking insane woman. I'm so happy I'm exactly at the right place. And now I can concentrate on my work and I can be more productive. Ked's Dead says she is bitter that she can't get Papa JF's semen. Well, she got it. That's the thing. But she, I don't know. Maybe she was a disappointed customer. But I mean, complete failure on her part. Yes, Alberta is wise to the Real Housewives of Alberta. I mean, these women, they have a whole history of trying to mess people's life, extortion, threatening people. And I didn't kneel, and I didn't play their game, because they were threatening me for a whole month with pictures of me from my private life with my children. And I was like, if you dare publish this, you are fucking evil. But I will not kneel or be terrorized by this shit. And I think that ultimately, I mean, I don't know, because no one came to see me. I didn't get a visit. I didn't get a swatting team like I would get in Quebec and like I would get in Prince Edward Island. But my conclusion is, visibly, the conservative government of Alberta is a little wiser than these eastern provinces and has realized, hey, that every woman is always lying about this guy. When they're with him, it's all good. When they're with him, they don't complain. They say, yes, I'm aware that people are making false allegations against him. But then as soon as they're in separation mode, they start lying about him. And it is so heartwarming to finally be in a place where my rights will be protected. Now, I'm very happy that this is my last comment on this whole affair. And I want to recover my private life with my children. I'm very happy. There's so much progress and greatness in our lives. This was kind of a bump on the road that the children didn't really experience, because I didn't talk to them about it, of course. But to have a fucking insane woman out there generating videos about them when she hasn't seen them for 11 months, that is shameful what she's done. Azra Cole sends a super chat. He says, thanks for the amazing show, JF, and congratulations on the remonetization. I'm so excited, and so I want to produce something, and I know that the moral signal, it's not time for it yet, but I'm working every day on producing a cookbook. The cookbook will be called White People Food. Here I have one page that I was working on yesterday. This is the story of the splitting of a cow. A cow has been grazing the fields in Texas for 2.5 years and has now been sent to the slaughterhouse. Here are some of the things that might happen to its parts. The chuck goes into beef patties, a cross rib cut. The brisket is sent to a Jewish deli in Montreal for brining, smoking, and slicing. Ends up in a smoked meat sandwich. The flank ends up marinated flank steak served at a taco bar in Austin. The skin is sent to a clothing company. The kidneys are frozen and sent to Egypt, where there is higher demand for kidney meat. The rest can be sold as edible locally or used in industrial processes. For instance, the production of pet food or pharmaceutical chemistry. The hooves can be ground into pet chew or keratin supplement for beauty products. Philly cheesesteak with the round, sirloin roast, T-bone, porterhouse steak. That is what I'm currently working on. It's going to be a whole cookbook about white people food. about what is the definitional thing that defines white people food. What could have been different if there weren't white people to come up with these items of European culture? And I do a very thorough review. You guys have been helping me a lot on the last show. That you've taught me a lot about the Eastern European traditions. I knew less about this, but I know a lot about Western and Northern tradition. English, French, German. So I'm really making it an encyclopedia, and I think it will have anthropological value beyond being a cookbook. I hope that this is what it's going for. And I go through the science of cooking and what's the difference between browning and charring and blackening, and what are the molecular processes? What happens in food that you cook? Why is it that when you burn it a little too much, the taste changes? That kind of stuff. And I also go through farming practices. I document everything I know about farming, vegetables, animals. It's going to be absolutely extensive. Now, I'm going to have to charge a high price for it because it's premium printing. So because there's so many images, I need to print in color on the interior of the book. So it's not like the Revolutionary Phenotype. I won't be able to sell this cookbook for $20. But I think we might achieve it at maybe $60, maybe $70. But it's going to be absolutely worth it, let me tell you. It's going to be an item that you want to own. Yes, onion soup, of course, Martel. That's actually one of the first recipes that's already in. And I've made the whole design of the recipe. The pictures have been acquired. What I find is that if I work on this throughout the winter, I have time to do approximately 3 to 4 new pages per day. So generally one recipe with an image, a recipe, so that's 2 pages, and then sometimes a second recipe with another image, or maybe I do a special where I explain some farming practice or some science behind the baking. So if I want a 500-page cookbook at 3 to 4 pages a day, should take me about 100 days, a little more. So that brings us to the spring. Ked's Dad says, can we purchase this book? Would be a great gift for my wife or mom. Absolutely, it will be an absolutely great book for gifts, but I'm not going to put it up for sale until I reach satisfaction that it will be completed, and when I know the date where it can be printed and delivered. But certainly, I would aim for being available before next Christmas. But we might have the potential of a release or a pre-release in summer. I don't know. It's going to be determined by my work ethic and just how many pages can I go through. And I have a lot of stuff that I just noted on Notepad, and I'm not done reviewing and researching. I'm calling friends with their recipe. Can you give me your grandma's recipe for this, that? So I'm currently in the research. John Drake says, make it a work of art and charge large for it. Absolutely, that's what I'm doing. Yes, it will be an Amazon release. Amazon can print amazing premium interiors, but the cost is there. It's like the printing cost of this book will be about $45. So when I tell you I can maybe sell it to you for 60 or 70, that's because 45 is going to be the price of printing it. That is what I concluded making my calculations. So Michael Burry, what an annoying guy. I mean, I love the guy because he's right. But Michael Burry just deregistered Scion Asset Management, officially killing the fund. His October 27th letter was brutally honest. My estimation of value in securities is not now and has not been for some time in sync with the markets. Translation, he's been wrong or early, and he's tired of bleeding performance while waiting for vindication. This has always been the problem with Michael Burry, who is starred in the movie The Big Short. I love that movie. I think it's great. It's well done. The guy, Michael Burry, his problem is always he sees defects in the market, but he bets on this instead of understand the human phenomenon and understand that everything is delayed and people are self-deceiving, and a market will not crash out of just unsustainability. You'll have to reach the wall. You have to let society hit the wall. At that moment is the right moment for a bet. But Michael Burry is always 2 or 3 years in advance, which is why he is joining in bull markets. He's shorting and saying it's going to crash, but you always have to leave 1 or 2 years for normie lag. So it's like normie investors, it's the same thing in my business of media. You see how today people are talking about stuff that we were talking 10 years ago? That is being in advance. And so I feel like a brother to Michael Burry, because in a way you could argue that I could have made more money if I was a little more slow in my thinking, you know? Because, okay, reaching celebrity streams in 2017, okay, you make some money, but reaching the celebrity streams that we see these days with the subjects that we were already covering and that we've said everything about already, they make millions. I mean, Candace Owen is making millions of dollars just talking about stuff that I've already covered. And I'm not saying she's copying. I'm just saying being a little late sometimes is being with the money. And Michael Burry is so autistic. He studies the finances of it, and he's like, oh, well, there's deception in Tesla. Oh, of course there's deception in Tesla. Tesla is an overrated stock by 3x, 5x. I agree. But it's going to keep going up for a long time. It has to crash with the whole of society, basically. So yes, we'll talk about this bet on NVIDIA and Palantir. Absolutely correct. But let's first look at his letter. Dear investors, with a heavy heart, I will liquidate the funds and return capital, except for a small audit and tax holdback, by year's end. My estimation of value in securities is not now and has not been for some time in sync with the markets. Ouch! Have you ever heard those words from an asset manager? This guy is so honest. He's like, sorry, guys, I don't have it anymore. It's not in me anymore. Visibly, I'm failing. Visibly, and of course, he's in sync with the markets. What does that mean? It means deeply, I'm not failing. Deeply, I have seen the correct things. But the markets are lying to themselves, and so they will keep. Of course, this has been said again and again. The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvable. So that's a big problem. If you bet against the market, the market does its own thing. My estimation of value. Okay, so with heartfelt thanks, but also with apologies, I wish you well in your future investments. I do suggest investors contact my associate PM, Phil Clifton, regarding his coming endeavors. He can be reached at Phil, blah, blah, blah. Phil is a tremendous young talent in the field of investment and the most prodigious thinker I have ever encountered. Wow. So this guy is saying, sorry, I lost your money and I'm going to liquidate. What are people going to get back? I don't know. Is it going to be 50% of what they had put in? Is it going to be 5%? You can lose everything on these kinds of bets. So let's study the history here that was sent to me by Barnabe in our Discord server, the history of bad calls of Michael Burry, because he is known for having made the bet that the real estate market, which was believed to be forever expanding, there's immigration, there's mortgages, fluff and fluff and fluff, and the values of houses keeps getting bigger. The real estate market was believed to be forever on the up. Forever on the up. And in 2008, suddenly he has this conviction that, no, it's going to fail, because he sees people are starting to get 2 houses, 3 houses, all on mortgage. Then they're renting some of the houses. Then they're sharing some of the other houses. And it's like he sees this and he's like, suffice that a bunch of people lose their job and they can't pay the mortgage anymore, and it creates a chain of reaction. So that's what The Big Short movie is about, his proper call of 2008. But he's tried to redo the same calls for almost 10 years now. January 2017 predicted a global financial collapse and World War III were imminent. He was right, but over the horizon of what, 40 years maybe? Yeah. But on the horizon of a few years, very hard to predict World War III. September 2019 claimed index funds were the next CDOs ready to implode like 2008. So index funds, the problem is you have a professional class that decides, all right, whatever are the best values, the biggest market cap, or the 500 biggest companies, or by any criteria, they make these index funds, and then you throw your money into this. But it's like, it's becoming that these companies expect these passive flows of money toward their stocks. And of course, wherever there are expectations, wherever there is not due diligence, there is an error. There is fraud going on, parasitism. And I agree with Michael Burry. Of course, that's going to blow up at some point. But when? When? Because Google, Facebook, they make enormous amounts of money. Beyond my belief, they do. Beyond my belief, somehow there's people pouring billions of dollars in advertising on this boomer platform that Facebook is. And as long as they do, this is where you have to follow the social phenomena, not the fundamentals. The market is about the social phenomena, not the fundamentals. December 2020, shorted Tesla, said its price was ridiculous and destined to crash. Absolutely correct. But the problem with Tesla, it is at the center and it's the cornerstone of so many hopes of innovation. Elon Musk is like a god personality. Is like I don't know what would be the term for it. A kind of leader of a sect almost. His stockholders are absolutely insane. They believe in him, and he's developing something that has completely changed the market. All other car companies had to eventually copy Tesla. Now, his stuff is overpriced. I don't know why people buy these Teslas, but they do. So, again, the social phenomena. I agree with Michael Burry. Tesla is 3x overpriced, but it's the price of dreams. It's the price of human dreams, and it keeps going on. And on top of the dreams and just the adoration of Elon Musk, then you have the betters and the exchanges and the leverage. And all of this eventually contributes to a bubble phenomena that you can't undermine. They will decide when they undermine it. They will decide when they crash it. But you can't just short it and think that the world will go logical all of a sudden. January 2021 reiterated that Tesla's valuation would implode soon. Shares kept doubling. My favorite. 2021 argued that GameStop's rally wouldn't repeat. It exploded again weeks later. Again, yeah, GameStop is one of these phenomena that what I love about GameStop is that it allows you to isolate the per social phenomenon because no one actually believes in GameStop. So you know that this is a per meme. Now you get to measure the force of memes. Now imagine the force of memes that drove the GameStop craze. Imagine this combined with actual work, with an actual engineer in Elon Musk, with actual customers and actual inventions. Now you have the kind of multiplicative effect of bubbles. GameStop gives you the memes on their own. Tesla gives you the memes times the adoration times the godlike personality times the actual innovation times everything. Now you expect that Tesla will will absolutely explode toward the highs. February 2021 warned the entire stock market was dancing on a knife's edge. They are, but they still are as of today. And as long as the zombie economy is in effect, it's going to keep inflating. Claimed that inflation would destroy Bitcoin. It hit new highs later that year. Oh yeah, this one is the one I disagree with on Michael Burry. You don't understand Bitcoin, bro. If you think that inflation will destroy it, no. Bitcoin is designed to profit off of inflation. Cat's Dead says stocks is essentially gambling these days. BTC is the asset all should hold if they are serious about investing. Yes, I agree. 2021 called Robinhood a dangerous casino. It kept growing users and revenue up almost 1000x. Robinhood is absolutely right. What a scam place that attracts retail investors. They project an image of poverty and everything, but it is deeply a casino. It's a casino for stocks and crypto and people just spending small amounts, but ultimately providing Robinhood with signals. And signals, again, we are in the social phenomena. What does Robinhood do? They gather data from retail investors that do not matter to the market. I mean, whether you have a $10,000 or $1,000 to invest in Apple, no one gives a shit. You are absolutely inexistent to the market. But yet Robinhood measures your behavioral output. Robinhood says, oh, you're buying 1,000 of that stock. That means this campaign worked. This PSYOP worked. Now they send this advanced information to real players of the market, and they somehow make money from the information. March 2021 said that Bitcoin was a speculative bubble. It kept rallying. Whoops. Yeah, that certainly isn't. June 2021 predicted the mother of all crashes and sold everything. Market kept going like legend. In fairness, Jamie Dimon said the same. Yeah, well, this is going to happen. It has to happen. People will cash out of the stock market. That's the only function it has. But it would be very hard. I've been saying it for many years that it's going to happen. Is it going to happen in a year, in 5 years? Hard to say. When exactly the next crash comes. I think we're getting closer and closer to it. But I'm still long. So this is the difference between Michael Burry and me. I believe that society as we know it will crash, including the stock market. I believe, some of the unsustainabilities of the system will just eventually crack and accumulate, and nothing will work anymore. I believe in the normie squeeze. But I'm long because I'm still long as of today, because I know before that there needs to be self-deception, there needs to be delusions of grandeur, and we're in the exact moment for this. So you want to short the market at some point, but you want to short it when it's gone absolutely insane. And I think we haven't even gone insane totally yet. Forecasted. Massive stock failures ahead. Indexes finished the year higher. And on August 2023, bet 1.6 billion on a total market crash, tweeted sell, later admitted, I was wrong to say sell. Do we know how much he lost? So imagine these wrong calls over 8 years. That must have hurt him financially. He must have been losing again and again. So very sad. I mean, this is a man living through the market pain of being right, but being too autistic to see that being right will have a delayed effect. When I'm right, I'm generally right like 10 years in advance. And so I know that there's no way to convince everyone, and that you have to spout it out, you have to leave it on the public space, but then you have to play the game, the social game of the market, which is follow the market. They will keep deceiving themselves, they will keep maintaining, they will keep injecting money flows through things that are bad, but eventually it's gonna crash. You want to be there at the right time. Michael Burry was not there at the right time. Now, this tweet seems to suggest that somehow this is not over for him, because what he's really doing is he's closing his public fund. So the investors that tried to go in with him, he's sending back their money. But they say this tweet suggests that he is ultimately going full autist, and he's going to just continue his bet, continue going through the market pain with just his own money. Sure, I mean, I hope he does this. He says, I don't think a lot of people know this, but Burry has Asperger's and genuinely hates talking to people and find investor relations psychologically draining. Managing a fund during that kind of pressure is torture. Fast forward to 2025 and it's deja vu. He's been cryptically warning about AI bubble dynamics, claiming hyperscalers are fudging depreciation schedules to inflate earnings, drawing comparisons to .com. But here's what's really happening. He doesn't want to hold investors through this. You can be right about the fundamentals and still get obliterated trying to time it. Max Mercer says the retail investors were thrown under the bus. I mean, you could say is investors. I don't think they qualify as retail investors. I mean, if you send $10 million to Michael Burry, you probably don't qualify, I think, as a retail investor. I think we could say that they are probably sophisticated investors. Whoa, I lost all of my pages all of a sudden. Never saw this before. Not enough memory to open the chat. You probably don't qualify. Are you kidding me? I have enough memory. I have infinite memory. This is a very okay, there was a memory bug. Now my windows are back. Yeah, so I don't think they qualify as retail investors. I think they are sophisticated investors. But yeah, they were kind of, they lost. They made the decision to trust Michael Burry, and Michael Burry's vision didn't come to be in time. So yeah, that is it. I hope that he pursues his call of a short. His current thesis is that the way AI is developing is the same bubble as .com, as the technology bubble. And I believe he's absolutely right. And he believes that there is particularly a loop of false appreciation between NVIDIA and AI. Because everyone is like, oh, this is so amazing. NVIDIA is going to sell their GPUs to AI companies. And they're right. And then they're like, oh, it's so amazing. AI companies are going to be cashing in on so many things. And they're right. But there is kind of a double valuation here where, well, this is the same money. These guys are going to make money by selling services. They're really a front for NVIDIA. They're really a front to the public for NVIDIA, delivering the services that the people want and that companies need. But then when you value both NVIDIA and the AI companies, there's a disbalance where everyone thinks there's going to be this loop where there's infinite money coming into that loop, but it's really the AI companies are going to just pay NVIDIA to have more and more computing power, and it's the same money. So that's his current call, that with these delusions that the governments will get in and just pour money down the system, his call is that there is currently overestimation of the value for these companies. And he's right. He's absolutely right. These companies are absolutely bubbled up. And yeah, we all know that AI will change the world, but how much is ChatGPT gonna get out of it? How much is NVIDIA gonna get out of it? I think he's right to suspect falsehoods here. Sharp says 1 beef cow is worth about 1 ounce of gold, takes 18 months. Yeah, I was describing this in my book research. I was in my book page. I'm like, it takes about 2 years and a half to raise a cow to adulthood for the slaughter. I want to look at this girl because she has all of the red flags. She's 21-year-old, lives in Toronto, Ontario. Look at this face. Have you ever seen as much red flags? I mean, you have to read what she says. It's even worse than what it might look. I'm 21-year-old and I am looking for a long-term relationship. I would like to get married and have children. In fact, my project is to have a philosopher king children. If you know what that means, you might be a good fit. Holy shit. A philosopher king children. So kind of a Buddha, a mind that is worked on to have all of their needs met so that they develop into a kind of bold, liberal thinker. If you know what that means, you might be a good fit. I also just want to be able to merge my social world, all friendly, ambitious nerds, red flags. She's attached to her social world and she sees her babies as the babies of her community of friends, who she describes as friendly, ambitious nerds, probably a bunch of beta leftists. With someone who can make me feel excited about life, enthusiasm is an important part of my attraction. I prefer to date someone in their late 20s to early 30s, but I'm a bit flexible either way. As for what I bring to the table, I'm young, fertile, presumably, smart. I say this with little pretension, as it is one most provable trait I can claim to have. Very extroverted and social, that is a red flag. Overly extroverted, kind of weird thinking females. Well-read, well-traveled, those are big red flags. Philosophically inclined. Yeah, but I'm sure you're not into the JF philosophy. Oh, you're philosophically inclined? Have you heard about immediate insemination? Ruthlessly committed to reason. I spend a lot of time on Twitter and reading blogs. I consider myself rationalist adjacent. Bro. The red flags are sweating. My politics lean centrist to right-wing, honestly. Okay, but you have to understand how in the liberal female mind, what center-right might mean. So I'm not sure that she's actually center-right. I'm not sure that any woman ever was center-right, but certainly her. I have held some socially liberal opinions and some socially conservative as well. I'm a white-ish Mediterranean woman, primarily looking for a white man, though I do favor personality overall. Well, isn't that fascinating? A kind of free spirit who's able to claim her racial preference despite being obviously in a liberal social network. Currently hard stuck in Toronto, would long-term relocate to a major US city. Oh, red flags. New York, San Francisco. Oh. No, do not follow this woman to New York or San Francisco. Want to live in a big city at pretty much all costs. Okay, well, someone had sent me her text and was asking JF, is that a candidate? No, too many red flags. This fascination with the city is just that would be enough to bar. If they want to be in a city, it's because they are addicted to the social world of liberal cities, and that is a no-no. Nicholas Petrus says, seems like there's a decent potential for a man who wouldn't find her unattractive. I mean, I guess a city guy will reproduce with this girl. She's going to drop him during the pregnancy. I mean, this is pretty much certain. With this kind of crazy behavior, you can see that she's quirky, queer, kind of bizarre thinking. This doesn't stay in place for long. If you can, you might inseminate and get a successful baby from it, but that's all you're going to get because she's going to be elsewhere by the time the time for the second insemination comes. There's more and more exposure of Jeff Epstein's emails. G vacation. I remember this was the email with which he was talking to me. People are saying Jeff Epstein went politically correct and woke in 2016. So 2016 is when Trump gets elected. Now, that's in July, so I guess Trump must have been in office then, since the January before that. He says, I no longer use the terms like broad. Well, that was a joke, Justin. I don't think that's Jeff Epstein going woke. I think that was a joke. It's a liberal joke, like, hey, I'm not that macho anymore. I'm with the new trend. I don't call women broads. I think that was just a little joke from Jeffrey. Newly released emails show Jeffrey Epstein thought that Trump was one of the worst people he knew. He says, really, I've told you, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. So yes, dangerous. So I don't think that's a serious comment on Trump. I think it is really an indication of how Jews felt back then, Jews of New York in particular, felt about Trump, because this is in 2017. He's talking to Larry Summers. And in 2017, he is sharing that he hates Trump deeply. But that's what they would all tell you back then. They really were scared that Trump wouldn't be Zionist enough. So I think it's... I don't think he means bad in the sense of he's evil inside. I think he means it in the sense of he's against us. He's not going to be serving enough for the Zionist cause, and it's bad news for us. We have Megan Kelly, who has done a full review of some of the emails, particularly those that relate between Jeff Epstein and Michael Wolff. And what she points out is that Michael Wolff, as a journalist or supposed journalist, when he was interacting privately with Jeff Epstein, he was more like a counselor. He was more like hey, maybe you can do this strategically, or maybe you can do that. And I don't think there's much important in those emails other than revealing that, yes, you know, someone like Jeff Epstein is going to turn people into his servants because he has so much money. He can change your life with a single check. So it's like, yeah, I'm sure that there were journalists talking to Jeff Epstein and saying, hey, you could use this guy to your advantage, and please do this. Cyberchuck says, sure, he's a massive Zionist, but he's not Zionist enough. They never disappoint. Oh yeah, that's essentially what we get from the Jeff Epstein comments on Trump. That's what I record from it. North Sea says, didn't Larry Summers get canceled for talking about male and female IQ? I remember this. That's a long time ago. I remember he had made a comment on this. It's still not totally clear to me. Because people will tell you, well, male and female IQ are the same on average. It's just that males are more spread out on the IQ curve. And I don't know. I think we kind of modified the IQ test to get that response. I think that you have a slightly lower IQ for females if you run certain tests. But if you run tests that are highly verbal, and education has become extremely verbal and social. Education has been completely transformed in the last 20 years. It's now extremely verbal. It's all female-based. And I think that, yeah, on these measures, if you normalize with these measures, then the woman and the man become equal. But go into a STEM field, into an engineering department, and you'll see that women are still not totally prepared to do spatial mathematics, 3D thinking, that kind of stuff. They are definitely weaker on those measures. Ford CEO says he has 5,000 open mechanic jobs with six-figure salaries from the shortage of manually skilled workers. We are in trouble in our country, according to Fortune. We do not have trade schools. We are not investing in educating a next generation of people. Well, you know, you get what you deserve, these companies, because you've not been working with the local populations. You've not been maintaining a kind of intergenerational passation of wisdom and knowledge. You've been careless about hiring locals, and you've been on this H-1B hiring spree. You get what you deserve. Because at this point, white males like me are not even interested at going to an interview for work. And I would love to be a worker. I wanted to be working class my whole life. At some point, my mom said, Jeff, do you want to go to a private university? They will develop you better and make you into an elite. And I was like, no. I was 8 years old and I was like, no, I want to be with the people. I would love to be able to have jobs, but you guys have made the job market absolutely hostile to white males. You've been preferentially hiring anyone else, even if we were better on any measure. So we're not interested at going to an interview with a woman interviewer who will ask us if we have some brown genetics, or who will ask us if we meet some criteria to be part of a minority. We're going contract work. You don't want us? We're going contract work, self-employment. We're going to deliver our work to the market and be paid for it. Cat's Dead says contractor JF would be interesting. Yeah. I can do all sorts of things. I could be a mechanic. In fact, when I came back to Canada in 2017, before totally be rising as a YouTuber, I applied to be dismantling cars at a car cemetery. They didn't call me back. So they never call you back. They hire other people, and then they wonder why they don't get applications anymore. You shit on us for years. You told us in hostile ways you're not welcome. Well, I'm taking off my talents from your market of employment and I'm bringing it to self-employment. Now I can do whatever I want. Now I don't have to ask permission to a department of whatever crap to do something. Cat's Dead says, did you ever make the pole with the camera for roof work? I made the pole, I filmed the roof, I published a Twitter on this. I just did the filming. But now it's the winter, so now it's irreparable because the winter has put a layer of ice on the hole. So now there's no problem. The winter, it's not in winter that this hole matters. It's only in the spring or fall. So I have all of the material for my pole, and I will be trying to deploy it next summer. So people complain about this. They said, Jeff, you had promised a roof repair. Well, wait a minute here. I didn't promise any sort of timing for this roof repair. I have my pole, I have my roll, I have my flex seal. I don't have a problem right now because it's the winter, and in the winter, the whole thing ices and there's no water coming in. So I'll repair this next summer. Junkyard, lol. Yes, I applied to a junkyard. Sharp says, is JF applying back to black ore? Does he still have good hair? I don't know what that means. What is back to black ore? I don't know. See, there's so much insulting of young white males these days. You have Trump. You have Vivek, who came out and said, there's no talent. We absolutely need these immigrants because there's no talent. Well, it's like you told us you wouldn't hire us. You have a whole generation of white men who have been told, with talent and with high IQ, like me, who have been told we have no place for you. And then you complain that the generation after us is now like, oh, well, if I'm going to be dismissed for my race, I might as well go self-employed or even just neat. I'm just going to stay home because it's not worth it. Because they've seen talented people not get a job. And Trump says the same thing now in support of Vivek. So, oh, no, we absolutely need these immigrants. There's just no way you're going to get a fucking computer programmer, a white computer programmer. Are you kidding me? I could do it. I'm good at programming. Put me on one of these posts, on one of these titles, and I'll generate whatever you want. I'm a free thinker with capabilities of coding in any language. If there's a language I haven't been in contact with, I can learn it. I can do all this. I never got employed because cancel culture, race selection, DEI, all that crap. You tried to run the world without us, and now you're in trouble. Same thing with, who was that comment? Ben Shapiro. The conservative movement is absolutely crashing out. Ben Shapiro came in recently and said, if you can't afford living in your place, maybe it's time for you to leave. He's telling people who have been forever living in families in a town, maybe this town is not for you anymore. Well, it's like, the reason we can't afford living in our towns, in our own cities where we're born, is that you have a whole hostile program by the government to replace us via endless worker replacement. So we don't get jobs, and then we arrive on the housing market and we have less money, and we're like, I'd like to get a house now, but now the house is worth 5 times more what your parents paid for, because there's 5 times more demand for these houses, because you just created whole cities built on DEI, built on replacement of the local workers. And Shapiro dares to say to young men, maybe it's time for you to leave. Leave what? Leave America? For where do you want me to leave? He's literally telling young white men, why don't you go to Africa? It's cheaper there. Well, you caused this issue. The American economy was totally sustainable before you put in place this whole program that takes people's jobs and takes people's real estate opportunities. All of this for your own inflationary needs and your own inflationary profit making. And the conservative movement continues. Eric Erickson says, the internet tells me that in the 50s, a man could father 8 kids, have his wife stay home to manage everything, live in a house like this, and simply make ends meet as an auto mechanic. He's laughing at us. But you're absolutely right, Eric Erickson. Maybe not a house like this. Clearly, you've chosen a house to exaggerate here. That's not what anyone is saying. I don't think my parents could have bought this house. But they could have a house, and they could have a family of 8 kids. My grandparents both had families of 8 kids, approximately. So yes, it was definitely possible. And yes, my grandpa happened to be an auto mechanic and the local owner of a mechanic's garage. So amazingly, yes, you are absolutely correct. Even if you're trying to mock us and say it as a joke, no, you're correct. My grandpa was a mechanic. He ended up with land, house, 8 kids, a loyal wife, and I'm the product of this. Now, I can't even live in the city where my grandpa gave birth to my father, because there's a communist government coming after me, which forced me to flee this place, Quebec. ChatGPT's use of song lyrics violates copyright. A Munich court finds. So Germany's National Music Rights Association secured a partial but decisive win against OpenAI after a Munich court ruled that ChatGPT's underlying models unlawfully reproduced copyrighted German song lyrics. So when prompted accordingly, the model produces an output whose content is at least partially identical to content from the early training data set. Interesting. So there's the fine line between inspiration and copying. And these AIs, they work so much on black box system that even the people running these AIs don't really understand what's going on. They throw a lot of GPUs at it, and they hope it generates something. But of course, your training data set is in your AI. Of course, they're going to have to train their AI basically to be careful and to always review their content and see that it's different enough from what exists. John Drake says, monetary debasement makes this impossible today unless you buy Bitcoin, and more Bitcoin. Absolutely, that's the only... So that's why the employment market is not looking good. It's because first, you shit on us, you insult us, you tell us the employment market is not for you anymore. Now, we move on our own, and we found ways to survive. You know, us, men of my generation, we invested in Bitcoin. I'm working on a book. I made lots of money with that book, The Revolutionary Phenotype. I hopefully will make some money on my cooking book, and hopefully one day we'll get to the moral signal. But it's like, yeah, I had to do this because, by the way, I've never wanted this. My first want in life was to get a stable job, most basic level, working class guy. My parents were working class. It's never been on my mind. You have to be free of, you have to be wealthily independent. It's never been a goal that I pursued. I got there because I got rejected by the system so hard. So don't be surprised if you don't have white talent applying anymore. We've moved on. We've moved on because your little employment market is bullshit, and it's insulting, and it's condescending toward the youth. And on top of it, you don't even pay that much. It's like, yeah, there is an advantage for someone who goes Bitcoin or who goes self-employment. First casualty of the power bill crisis, Pennsylvania abandons regional carbon trading market. The worsening power bill crisis across the Mid-Atlantic region, a combination of nation-killing climate change policies colliding with surging load growth from data centers, has forced Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro to sign legislation allowing the state to abandon the regional greenhouse gas initiative. So they're abandoning their little conditions that they had put on energy because they were not realistic. That is good to see. It's the market coming back against the kind of leftist delusional ideology. I like to see it. Trump, as a last news item, Trump has a plan to scrap stupid Obamacare, redirect money to Americans. President Donald Trump delivered a game-changing pitch on healthcare during an address Wednesday, calling for a radical shift in how federal funds are distributed under Obamacare. I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for this massive amount of money to be paid directly to the people so they can buy their own healthcare. I don't know. I don't know. Certainly, there's something deeply wrong about the U.S. system for health insurance. I've been in the U.S. myself, and I understand nothing about it. I don't know how that works, because I've never taken these insurance, and yet when I was going to the clinic to get doctor services, they were just giving it to me. So I don't know. I don't know how it works. I have no idea. Somehow, I see massive inefficiencies in the system. You have secretaries in medical clinics that are just dedicated at trying to charge insurance in some ways. And it's like, what? So your job is just to try to drain more money from the insurance? There should be more efficient ways, more real ways. Because you fall in a circle of, well, now the doctors, all they want to do is justify more charges. And so how do you think you end up with so much diagnosis of autism? It's because doctors are like, wow, if I can argue that this guy is autistic, I get paid more today. I get him to come back for 8 months of physiotherapy and psychotherapy, and we're gonna charge and charge and charge. So something has to be fixed. I'm not sure that just sending money to people is the solution. Maybe it is a part of the solution to give more control to people rather than the doctors, because the relationship between clinics and insurance companies is very unhealthy, very disorganized, and I don't know that the free market has a solution for this, because it seems that if it had, America would have found it. John Drake says Trump will be a lame duck in 300 days. They just gotta wait him out. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not super impressed by the Trump presidency up to now. Not super impressed. Very disappointing. There's some amount of work on illegal immigration. Sure, that's good. There's not much movement, though, and I feel that there's a lot of bravado and display, but not much being done. Certainly better than Joe Biden. Magister Templi says the dentist feels like that, lol. A weird scam done by not ghetto people. This particular one ran by woman. Oh yeah, dentist, it's like... I'm so depressed when I see the state of these things that became not free. These things that went out of the idea, I serve the customer. I don't think you get served by... I don't think this is the feel I would like to have. And it's the feel I get when I get to a good doctor or a good dentist. They want to serve me, and I pay them at the end. But when you get the insurance in and all, it all becomes extremely complicated, because then it's like, oh, we have this $7,000 braces treatment for your child because he's got one disaligned teeth. I have a disaligned teeth. I lived with it. I was successful on the sexual market despite it. Learn to live with your defects and don't charge the insurance company for whatever. That's it for today, boys. Thank you for being here. Regular chat, how was the show today? Was the resolution good? I think it was good. Maybe tomorrow what I'll do, I'll try to multi-stream with Rumble in parallel, but I may be headed toward YouTube-only shows. And then maybe keep Rumble for one show a week where I go there and I deliver some thoughts on maybe hotter subjects. Everything seemed good, says Nicholas. Tyra, and then, yes, your responses are quicker to me now. Because when we had those lags and dropped frames problems, your responses were like 1 minute late. So I knew you were receiving me 1 minute late. Show was hot, says GM for the people. Well, let's get rebuilding on YouTube to an extent and keep Rumble. Maybe every day in multi-stream, maybe sometimes for exclusives. Much love, everyone. See you all tomorrow.